This is the big one. Hello guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today I'm going to be doing my championship, official championship 2022-23 predictions. I'll be reacting to this in January and then the end of the season. It's crazy how quick pre-season's gone. Coventry done fantastic. I did my short review because I'm doing this. This is going to take half my time. Plus, I'm not here tomorrow, so that means it's probably uploaded on Monday. Which then, yeah, that's what's probably going to happen in the end. But yeah, this is it. My predictions, the one you've all been waiting for. 6 days before the season starts. Should we get into it? We're going from 24th to 1st. In 24th place, I have put Rotherham. They're newly promoted. Haven't made outstanding signings. They look decent here and there. Last season they were quite good. Finishing second, I think. So they did not look too shabby. I'm going to see what transfer market they did. I don't think they've done overly too much, which could be a positive, could be a negative. Yeah, they've done absolutely nothing. They've done completely nothing. They've got a decent squad here and there, but honestly, this is League One standard team, Rotherham. They're not really a proper championship side. It's going to be tough for them this season. I can possibly see them going down, possibly surviving, but it's going to be very tight for them, very close. So 24th place for me is Rotherham. Should we move on to 23rd? And for me, it's Hull City. They made a few transfers here and there. They paid Dogokan Sinek, a midfielder, 3 days ago. Oscar Estebinian from Guimarães. They sold Keane Lewis Potter, which is massive. This is what really led me from going down, because he's a quality player. To Brentford as well. He is one quality player, Keane Lewis Potter. He's young, he's fresh, 21 years old. He's a brilliant forward, and I think last season he really showed what he can do, and that's why Brentford are interested, and that's why they sold him. They also bought Nathan Baxter, a goalkeeper, Ozan Tufan, a midfielder. He's very old now, I swear. Yeah, not very old, 27, but yeah. They also made Figueiredo from Forest. That's massive. And then a contract in extension 1 month ago from Max Ingram. They made some decent signings here and there, Hull, but yeah, last season they were decent. This season, yeah. Moving on to Reading. Not Reading. 22nd Reading. Yeah, Reading. We need to go through the signings. They've lost to Leeds. They lost as they luckily survived last season. They weren't overly brilliant last season at all. They just didn't look great. And yeah, they got deducted 6 points, but still, they looked shocking. They really did look shocking. And I think they ended like 20th, 21st. It was between them and Birmingham. But honestly, I have no hope for Reading. I have no hope. Losing loads of their players last season, they were just shocking. This season, they're not doing that much better. It's just not looking good for Reading. Moving on to 21st, and that is Birmingham City. I've got Birmingham to survive again. I think next season will be very tough. This season, I think they'll just survive. I think the 2023-24 season will be the season where I think I could get relegated. But this season, I've got them to survive in 21st spot. It's going to be very tight with Birmingham. They I think got new owners in as well. I think their manager's left. They've got a Villa fan as their manager, which is pretty crazy. Last season they were woeful. It's easy to say, Alfie Wilkes, I feel for you. I feel for you. You have to watch that day in, day out. Also, my cousins, also Birmingham fans. You have to watch that day in, day out. Birmingham are just not brilliant. Then And usually, like Burnley, just somehow survive. Like no one actually knows how, but they just do. They have that surviving mentality. They know how to survive, which I think that's why they will survive this season in 21st by probably a few points here and there. But yeah, Birmingham, you know, they have to beat the teams around them. You know, they have to beat the Readings, the Hull, the Rotherhams, they have to beat the Wigans as well, and the Sunderlands. You know, just to try and gain some points here and there, just to try and edge that way closer to surviving. But yeah, it's going to be a tough old season for Birmingham. Feel for you. Moving on to 20th, as it's Wigan Athletic, top of the League One last season. They looked quite good, Wigan. I think they just have enough minerals to survive the season. Be tight between them. Birmingham, Reading, Hull. I think even Rotherham could be in the shout surviving. Wigan is going to be very tight. It's going to be very close. You know, can they survive? That's the main thing. You know, you get promoted from League One to the Championship. The main first thing is surviving, and I think Wigan can survive. I don't think it's going to be too easy to survive. I think they'll just grain out a few points here and there just to get them over the line. But they could shock us, and they could do like mid-table, or they could just go down. It's so unpredictable, Wigan. They've made some alright signings, but honestly, they're not. They made no signings again. It didn't say on One Football they made any transfers, but you need to. Simple as that. You can't expect to survive. It may be. Is it with Sunderland as well? Oh no, it's not. So they just haven't made any signings. That's worrying. But they haven't lost any players. They kept the core. It's tough. Moving on to 19th, and I've got Blackpool. I think they'll drop down a few spaces from last season. Let's actually just get the last season table up. I think they'll just survive. The last season was a comfortably surviving season. But this season, where they finished last season, 16th. I think this season will be a bit of a decline. I think last season they looked very good on 60 points, very strong season, 15 wins and 10 draws. That's pretty big. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting for Blackpool. Oh no, Blackpool has 16 wins, 12 draws. I was looking at Bristol. My bad. 16 wins and 12 draws. Oh, it's my cat again. Woo! Alright, do you want to be in the video? Come on. Oh, there he is. There he is again. You saw him in the evening, not on the camera. There you go. Alright. So, yeah, so with Blackpool, last season was just surviving. That's the main focus of last season, was surviving. And I think this season they could go forward. They could try and get 12th, 13th, but he'll be very close indeed. Moving on. Oh, so hairy. How hairy are you, Yogi? Alright, moving on to 18th. That's Cardiff City. Cardiff are just not brilliant, are they? Really? They can grind out a few points here now. I don't think they'll be relegated. Last season they also finished 18th as well. I don't think they'll move that many places. I think it'll be a very tight season for Cardiff. In their pre-season they did well. 4-2 over Swindon, 0-0 over Shrewsbury, 2-1 over Cheltenham. They're just not all too convincing wins against teams which they probably should be thrashing day in, day out. But with Cardiff, it's going to be tight with them. Are very close. But yeah, should we move on to 17th with Sunderland? I think the final newly promoted side is Sunderland. I think it'll be a tight season for Sunderland. I think they will squeeze through. It'll be tight. I think they can get a few points for teams below them like Cardiff. I think they can win. Blackpool, Wigan, I think they can beat. But I think Sunderland will be very strong season, back in the Championship for the first time in like years. Because they should be in they should have been in the Championship ages ago, but they're finally in the Championship. It's going to be tough for Sunderland if they can just get their strikers and then, you know, get a solid defence, get a solid striking partnership. I think they can survive, but yeah, it'll be tight with Sunderland. Moving on to 16th with Bristol City. They're strong club, Bristol. They're a strong club, and last season I think they also finished around 16th. Yeah, finished 17th. Yeah, with Bristol, it's going to be tight with them. I think, you know, they will comfortably survive. I don't think they'll get anywhere near relegation. But I don't think they'll push any forward than bottom 9. Yeah, I just don't think they'll get there. You know, it's going to be tough for Bristol, so they can just they've got a really nice stadium, really nice owners who do well for the club, do buy money for, like, invest money for the club. So what can Bristol do? They've got a decent manager, some decent youngsters, decent players. So what can they do with those players is the main thing. But shall we move on to 15th, which is Preston North End. And last season they finished 13th. I think it'll be tight with Preston. You know, how well their preseason. They lost 2-1 to Leicester today, beat Hearts 2-1, beat Accrington Stanley 1-0, lost to Getafe 2-1, beat Bamber Bridge 3-0. So yeah, you know, they weren't all too bad, Preston, this pre-season, and you know, they did not do badly last season, finishing 13th. That's just in the bottom half of the table. That's really good for Preston. And at one point last season, they looked like they were going to go up. Any business done from Preston's side, which could be huge. You know, Robbie Brady from Bournemouth, that's decent. Tom Bathuizen has gone to Derby. So has Ethan Walker's gone to Blackburn. David Cornell, a goalkeeper's gone to Preston. Freddie Woodman, a goalie's gone to Preston. So, you know, they haven't made too many signings, but haven't made bad signings. You know, it's going to be tight with Preston. It's going to be a difficult season. Moving on to 14th, and I've got Swansea City. Last season they finished 15th, I think. So they're not too much of an upgrade from Swansea's part. It's going to be tight with Swansea, of course. You know, what can Swansea do? Can they get a win here and there? I think, you know, that middle of the season is going to be crucial. Swansea can be around 10th going into the last half of the season, and they can pick up some big momentum wins. You know, in the Championship, you just got to go on a run. If you win games after games after games on a run, that means, you know, you get so many points. You can actually get, you know, top 10, top 12, you know, whatever Swansea's goal is. They just have to, you know, just get some momentum wins here and there. But it's going to be tight with Swansea. Moving on to 13th, and I've gone for a downgrade for Luton Town. They haven't made brilliant signings. You know, Kai Naismith has gone to Bristol, that's a loss. Ethan Horvath, a goalie from Forest. Matt Ingram from Hull, not brilliant. Peter Chioso, a defender, that's a contract extension. Luke Berry, another contract extension. Cameron Jerome, another contract extension. It just hasn't been all too convincing. Like other teams, they haven't made some brilliant signings. There still is a month of this transfer window, but at the moment they haven't done all too many signings of a month into it. We've got another month to go, I think. So I don't know. It's going to be tight. It's going to be very close with Luton. But yeah, for me, they dropped to the bottom half of the table from having such a good season last season. I think it was making in the playoffs, I think. Yeah, 6th by 5 points as well. That's comfortable playoff spot. You know, they did look like a good team, but now I just think they'll drop off. Moving on to 12th, and it's Millwall. Yeah, it's Millwall, isn't it? You know, they always go mid-table. They're not really a team that just goes on a mad one. They came 9th last season, though. That was a bit of an upgrade. They haven't, you know, they've made some decent signings. I haven't actually know. But they've made, I think they've made some decent signings here and there. Jamie Shackleton from Leeds. They've lost Connor Anthony Mahoney to Huddersfield. They bought Charlie Cresswell from Leeds. Bennett Afobe from Stoke they've signed. Jed Wallace has gone to West Brom. That's massive. Mahone Romeo has gone to Cardiff. That's massive. Yeah, so like they've made some decent signings. They've lost a few players, but they've made some decent signings. So let's see what Millwall can do. They're just a really mid-table side, aren't they? You know, you look at them and like they're alright. They're not best, but they're alright. So it's gonna be very tight with Millwall. It's gonna be a very interesting season. Should we move on to 11th, top half of the table right now? QPR. 11th QPR. Last season they didn't have that good of a season. QPR last season they finished 11th, so I've got them to be 11th. They were at one point 5th. They were at one point looking really strong, like proper strong. And it just all started to fall away. QPR, you know, they in like the first half of the season. So did Cop. So did a few teams. They looked strong. They looked brilliant. But towards the end of the season, they just did not look good. I think it will happen with this season as well. I think they'll have a strong start and start to fade away and fade away. But if they had that good of a start, they just won't go too far down. They'll go like stay 11th-ish. It'll be a tight season for QPR, but yeah, I can see that happening. Moving on to 10th, and that is Stoke City. I've got Stoke to be in the top half of the table. Last season, they did have a shocker. 14th. Not really a shocker, but you know, knowing the past, and I know it's not present right now, but the past, you know, they were in the Premier League. How much they faded away from being a bottom half championship team, from being a Peter Crouch masterclass in what they used to be, to now being a bit of an iffy side. I don't know, it's going to be really tight for me with Stoke. They were how many points off? They were only 5 points off 10th last season, so it's not too bad. They do look like a decent side, Stoke. Any signings that they made? They made any proper signings? Stoke transfers. Smallbone from Southampton. Dwight Gale from Newcastle. Joe Allen's gone to Swansea. James Chester has gone to Derby. Stephen Fletcher's gone to Dundee. Tom Ince has gone to Reading. So they're losing a lot of players, but they've got Gavin Kilkenny from Bournemouth, which is massive. They lost the Phobie. They bought Josh Laurent, Harry Clark. So they've done some business, Stoke. They look like a decent side. Moving on to top 10. Oh, that was top 10. But moving on to 9th, it's Burnley. And you may be wondering, James Talks Football, why have you put Burnley 9th? And that's a good question. Why have I put a newly promoted Burnley, Dyche FC, who's now left, there? They've lost many players. I can just name a few. Ben Mee, Nathan Collins, Weghorst, James Tarkowski. I swear they've lost their keeper as well, Nick Pope. I swear they lost. I don't know, probably haven't. I swear they have. But they're losing so many players. And yeah, the parachute payments may do a little bit just to savour them from getting top 10. Just forget about automatics. Definitely forget about playoffs. Definitely think about top 8. And you'll be lucky enough to get top 10 for me. If you do get playoffs, fair enough, and I'll hold my hands up and say, I've made a stupid mistake. And I will happily do that. Man, that mock was big. I'll happily do that. Just admit that I was wrong, admit everything that happened. But for me right now, I think it'll be 9th for Burnley. I don't see anything else apart from luckily getting top 10. Moving on to 8th, and I've got Middlesbrough. I think it'll be tight with Middlesbrough. You know, they made a few signings last season. They weren't too bad. Zach Stefan from Man City's gone to Middlesbrough. Jed Spencer's gone to Tottenham. They lost him. They lost Pereiro. Nathan Wood-Gordon they've lost. They lost Stjanovic. Lenihan's gone to Middlesbrough. Ryan Giles has gone to Middlesbrough. So like they were alright last season. They finished 7th. I got them to finish 8th. And it'll just be that sort of season, you know. It won't be too. It'll be alright. But yeah, moving on to 7th. Just missing out on playoffs. Is it going to be my team? No, it's West Brom. I think last season they were a bit shocking, 10th. You know, didn't finish too badly. You know what their season was to what their season like ended was like pretty shocking. You know, they had a poor start. Now they had like a good ending to it, which is massive for them. Just give their confidence and morale. But it's going to be tight now. It's going to be really tight for West Brom. They're going to be like a few points off playoffs. But for me, I've gone for West Brom 7th, and you know if they do get playoffs, fair enough. You probably deserve playoffs. But for me, 7th is West Brom. Now going into playoffs. In 6th place, making playoffs, is Blackburn Rovers. And you may be wondering, James, talks football. Why have you put Blackburn in 6th? And it's like, Burnley, what a good question. Because I think they'll learn from their mistakes from last season. They always do this. And this is why I'm thinking, why have I put them 6th? They literally, last season, were like 2nd in like February. And then they ended up being like 8th. Like 8th, 9th, 8th. Like, it's poor, you know, they bottle it again and again, time after time after time. This season, I think it'll be too hard to bottle. I think they have too good of a start, so it'll be too hard to bottle it. And for me, they'll finish 6th. They've made a few good signings here and there. They've lost Lenihan. All the signings, have they actually made any signings? That's the main thing. That's the question everyone's asking. Yeah, they have. Britton's come in, Walker's come in, Barrington Diaz has made a contract extension to the 30th of June of 2023, so he'll be playing this season, and that's why I think they'll get top 6. Moving on to 5th, and that is my team, Coventry City. You may be wondering, James talks football, why have you put your team, your biased team, pure biased team? No, I'm not biased. I am not biased. It's the truth. Really, it's the truth. At the moment, touch wood, touch wood, touch wood, we have bought Casey Palmer. That's it. But no, that's not the business. That is a big business because that's, you know, giving our, you know, we can have players now can rest. I forgot the words called. Good rotation as well. That's one of the words. But also, the main business at the moment is we haven't lost Jokeres, we haven't lost Hamer, and we haven't lost O'Hare. That's the 3 main business right there. We have lost a few players, so we've lost Matson, Clark Salter to QPR. Oh, it just makes me cringe. No, if Clark Salter has a masterclass against us, I won't be too happy. I won't be best pleased. But it's not the end of the world. But yeah, Coventry City for me, 5th. Comfortably getting playoffs. And we'll be playing 4th, who is Watford. We're playing Watford in the playoff semi-finals. Yeah, I think Watford newly relegated. I think parachute payments are doing them well. They've got decent managers. They can stick to 1 or 2 managers. If you go on a bad one, yeah, change manager. But not change. Just because they're going on a tiny bit of a bad run. Trust your manager. That's why you brought him in, to trust him, to give him that comfort. You have to give him comfort. You have to, not comfort, but you have to give him, got to give him trust. It's like a relationship. You have to trust your girlfriend or your boyfriend, depending on what gender you are, or depending if you're homosexual. No, yeah, No. That's a bad thing. No. What? No, if you're gay, whatever. Leave it. Like, whatever. You know, gotta trust. You gotta trust. It's about trust. It's a love relationship with the owners and the manager. Gotta trust each other. And that's what Watford have to do with their manager. The owners have to trust the manager. Simple as that. You know, they made some decent signings, Watford, but yeah, 4 for me. Moving on to 3rd, just missing out on automatics. It's Huddersfield Town again. They'll get playoffs again, finish 3rd again. No, they didn't finish 3rd, did they? No, they finished 4th. Yeah, they finished 4th last season. No, they finished 3rd. Yeah, they did finish 3rd. I think they finished 3rd again. Be very close. You know, with them and the top 2. But for me, Huddersfield, they made some decent signings. No, Anjorin's gone to them. Lewis O'Brien's gone to Forest. Harry Toffolo's gone to Forest. Nakanyama has gone to Huddersfield. Connor Anthony Mahoney has gone to Huddersfield. Piper has gone to Olympiacos. And they made some decent signings here and there and everywhere. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Moving on to my top 2. The 2 left are Norwich and Sheffield United. In 2nd place, I can confirm on my 4 fingers, is Sheffield United. I think they had a decent season last season. You know, probably could have got playoff final. But you know, they lost to Forest in the end, who then went on to win it, who then went into the Prem this season. But at the end of the day, it's tight. It's really tight between that sort of positions. Just, you know, Sheffield United, what business they've done. Alex, you're welcome. You didn't have anything to do with my prediction. I actually do think Sheffield United will finish here, but Alex Underwood is a Sheffield United fan, so you're welcome. Kieran Clark has gone to Sheffield United. David McGoldrick's gone to Derby. Hamed Odzik has gone to Sheffield United. Doyle has gone to Sheffield United. Michael Virips has gone to Fortuna. Fortunes are told. Jack Robinson has got a contract extension. So has Ben Osborne, Chris Basham as well. You know, they've just been, you know, decent business, and Sheffield United just do look like a good side, a strong side as well. Be interesting to see if that prediction is actually right. But should we move in to my 1st spot, and it's Norwich City. Parachute payments, yo-yo club, everything you need to say. That's why I think they'll finish 1st. I think, you know, they're too good to not be promoted to the Prem again. They're just such a yo-yo club, man. It's actually so annoying, I swear down. Why is such a yo-yo club? Like, it's just not even funny anymore. They're such a yo-yo club. It's annoying me, man. Now my hair's all fuzz. So yeah, they're annoying. But it's what Norwich are. But yeah, that wraps up the video. That is my championship table prediction for the upcoming season 2022-23. It's going to be... Oh, that's nice. Oh, my God, it's, yeah. And that wraps up the video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and see you guys in the next one.